It's almost over.
You can.
Everybody thought the dragon was bad, but he's actually a nice dragon.
Yeah.
I will see you again. Will I? Ever? What are you sniffing for? Now remember, don't scare people. Goodbye, Elliot. Goodbye. It's Elliot. And remember, you're supposed to be invisible.
The end. What did you think of that movie of the 35th anniversary edition of Pete's Dragon?
It was cute.
Yeah, it was
Not
cute.
my favorite, but it was cute.
Okay.
B3352.
Bloopers.
Don't match in size, but we fit so neatly.
Hi, that's me. No, not the green one. I'm Sean Marshall, and I played Pete when I was a kid many years ago. When we were making Pete's Dragon, Elliot wasn't there. He was invisible, and I could only see him in my imagination.
You sure changed my life.
The magic of Disney's artists brought Elliot to life so you could see him too. They used a special effects technique perfected at Disney Studios known as the sodium screen process. In today's digital age of computers, it's much easier than it used to be. You may even have heard of the terms blue screen or green screen. It's like this. Someone is photographed against a very specially lit green background. Later, computer programs eliminate all the green and leave just the person. Then that image can be combined with any kind of background. You see it all the time in movies, even TV news, where animation or people are combined with different settings or objects.
'Cause it's not easy to find someone who cares.
It's not easy to find magic in pairs.
Before computers, combining animation with live action was not easy, so I'm going to let you in on the secret of that process and how Disney Studios spent decades getting so good at it. This story starts way back in the 1920s, when Walt Disney first started making movies. From the very beginning, Walt Disney experimented with special effects and camera tricks, trying to become a successful filmmaker. He started making simple cartoons and ended up making magical movies that are still loved around the world. Listen to Walt Disney describe those early days.
Well, I was desperately trying to get something that would get a hold, could catch on. So I was thinking if I had something with a novel twist. They had had the cartoons working with the humans, which was originated by Max Fleischer. So I thought of the reversal on that. I'll put the humans in with the cartoons instead of being paralleling the other cartoons they made, and I might crack the market. I took a real person and put him into the drawing.
To put it in simple terms, they photographed the live actors in front of a white sheet. Then the film could run through the camera a second time to shoot the animation, combining the two images in a double exposure. Sometimes, for closer interaction between the characters, they would make still pictures from each frame of the live-action film. That way, they knew where to draw the animation in relation to the live film. Then the animation camera would shoot the drawings with the photographs. Later, you'll see how that same idea was used for Pete's Dragon.
So I made this first one called Alice in Cartoonland. And I found a little girl that's been posing for some of the commercial things at this place.
The girl was Virginia Davis, Walt Disney's first star.
I remember Walt
Virginia
Disney, and
Davis,
I remember what a nice
Mick
man
G.
he was. You know, a little 4-year-old looking up at this tall man, and he would tell me so many nice stories, and then we'd act them out. And of course, being silent, he could gesture and tell me what to do as we were going along on the storyline, because the animation was apart from the acting. It was pantomime. Walt would tell me what to do. He'd say, look behind you, a bear's coming. Look frightened. And then I'd have to look frightened. And every little movement was that way. But it was a pretend story. And, you know, children love to pretend. And I loved to pretend, too.
One of the men who would be most important to the technical developments at Disney Studio was lifelong associate Ub Iwerks. In addition to being a skilled and amazingly fast animator, Ub was already helping solve technical problems at the new studio. For instance, he modified the animation camera for a more consistent light exposure of each frame. But his biggest contribution in those days was helping Walt develop a new character, Mickey Mouse. It was in 1928 that Walt Disney made his first real breakthrough with the help of Ub Iwerks. Ub animated 2 silent Mickey Mouse cartoons, Plain Crazy and Gallopin' Gaucho. But, amazingly, they did not generate much interest, and no distributor would release them. It was technical innovation that once again came to Walt's rescue. A third Mickey Mouse cartoon, Steamboat Willie, was given a completely synchronized soundtrack for the first time in cartoon history. It was a blockbuster hit. Engaging personalities like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, combined with the skillful use of music, sound effects, and voices, soon became hallmarks of Disney animated films. In 1932 came Flowers and Trees, the first full-color
Oh,
cartoon.
look at that.
Oh, yeah.
The drawing talents of Disney artists advanced so rapidly that in 1937, the world was given the first full-length animated film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was the most successful movie ever made up to that time. During this time in the 1930s, Ub Iwerks had actually gone out on his own, but in 1940, he came back to the Disney Studios, where he remained for the rest of his career.
I have to say that when I knew Ub, I would never have imagined him as an animator. Now, this is when I knew Ub as the guy who ran the process lab and as essentially a technician as opposed to the Ub who animated Mickey Mouse at their furious rate for many, many years and a lot of other characters.
Instead of animating, Ub enjoyed his time working on technical problems. In 1945, that included developing new ways to mix live action with animation.
Walt Disney actually combines for the first time on the screen cartoon with flesh and blood personalities.
Well, the first time in color, that is. You know how movie advertising likes to exaggerate. But it was never done so well before. The Three Caballeros was a dazzling festival of music and color in a celebration of Latin and South American cultures. During the artist's research trip, even Walt Disney himself got into the spirit.
We developed this little Brazilian parrot, Jose Carioca, who played with Donald Duck.
Animated characters were put into live-action scenes. And humans were put into cartoon worlds. The effects were created in two ways. One method was basically a standard movie practice of rear screen projection. Actors perform in front of a movie screen, projected from behind, so that the camera sees two images together. Here's a rare behind-the-scenes look at how it was done. That's the dancer on stage in front of a rear projection of the animation. When animated stars were in the foreground, it was essentially the same principle. In those days, animators' drawings were transferred onto clear cells painted by hand so that the camera could see behind them. They worked out a system where the live action was projected onto a mirror and reflected underneath the cells, then shot from above one frame at a time by the animation camera. The other method was even more complicated, using a cool new process Ub Iwerks was experimenting with. The performer was photographed against a special color background. It allowed the film to subtract out the background color, leaving just the actor who could be placed anywhere. Ub developed the Disney Special Process Lab, where film elements would be rephotographed onto a new negative to combine special images in magical ways.
What he did in the process lab was so highly technologically oriented, but he was enormously creative with the technology. He could do things that were just wizard things with the machinery of film. You know, the optical printers that would add animation to live action, say, or any number of other things that made our lives as filmmakers easier.
Jungle Card.
This combination of live and cartoon was brought to perfection in the 1946 film Song of the South, where the song Zippity-Doo-Dah was born. Actor James Baskett mastered the difficult task of knowing how to look at objects that were not really there when he filmed his scenes. Having the correct eyeline really helps make the combination believable. I had to do that too in Pete's Dragon.
What shall we do now? Any suggestions?
Disney continued to mix people and cartoons from time to time in other films like Fun and Fancy Free.
Has anybody seen anything of a teensy weensy little mouse?
Oh, Mr. Bergen!
What's the matter with him? Something he ate?
No, it's a figmentation of his imagination.
No.
For Disney's first big action-adventure film, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the special effects team got a lot of help from Ub Iwerks' special processes. And the film almost had an animation sequence depicting the mysterious creatures of the deep. There's even a little piece of the deleted sequence in the theatrical trailer. Much of the animation was completed before deciding that it didn't really fit the picture, and so it wasn't used. Walt Disney's television series occasionally mix the two worlds. Here, Clarence Nash, the voice of Donald Duck, has an argument with himself.
That's good. I make you nervous. You make me nervous.
You make me twice as nervous. Yeah? Well, you make me sick. You make me twice as sick. You make me ill. Twice as ill. 3 times. 4, 5, 6, 2, 7, 8.
Then, in 1959, inspired by a British process, Ub Iwerks made a revolutionary improvement on the technique. It was used the first time in 10 Who Dared, a story of exploring the Colorado River. This new magic trick helped the absolute
Colorado River is in the West Coast.
Flubber.
Well, it's not on the coast. It
It
runs
helped
through
Harry Mills
Colorado.
travel to Boston in The Parent Trap, without ever leaving
California.
Disney's Burbank studio.
Northern California.
All of the
Northern
Mary
California.
Poppins things, you know, which involved this sodium vapor process that he invented. The sodium vapor is a kind of light that's a yellow light that you project on a screen behind the actors that you can then subtract this yellow. It looks like just a bright yellow screen. And you can subtract that out and just leave the actors and put a new background in its place.
1964 became the Academy Award-winning year for all these special
Mary
effects coming together.
Poppins movie was released in 1964 before I was born in
I
1999.
was 2 years old.
Yeah,
Can you picture mommy being a 2-year-old baby?
no.
I was very cute.
Of course, we have a lot of
Yeah.
of the trade here that we incorporated into Mary Poppins.
For instance, the movie made enormous use of matte paintings by outstanding artist Peter Ellenshaw. Live-action film could be combined with a painting using an optical printer in the Special Process Lab. Many live-action scenes, even simple ones, use the sodium screen process. The special yellow lights would not show up on film, leaving an almost black background. Then it could be combined with a real background, a matte painting, a cartoon background, whatever the filmmakers could imagine. Of course, the centerpiece of Mary Poppins was the Jolly Holiday. They did stuff that you don't even realize. The carousel is a cartoon background with a live-action carousel set painted to look like a cartoon background. And then an animated character who got placed into the live set with animated shadows of the real actors. Wow. It had been nearly 20 years since a Disney film combined live action with animation in such a spectacular way.
Incredible. Yeah,
Roy
that was
E.
one
Disney.
of many inventions.
Sodium screen became a common tool at Disney Studio for many years.
The sodium vapor screen that he invented.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
wonderful
It's just
process. It
cloudy.
just, in its day, was so far beyond what anybody else in town could do that it really allowed us to do a lot of things. That
The
nobody
love
else could
bug.
do.
The technique was also used for live action to avoid complicated shooting on location.
Little tricks and double printing and all of the trick photography that goes with many of the films we made. All the wonderful optical work. Any of the processes and titles, even as simple as that, any of those kinds of things. Everything funneled through Hub's Process Lab, and out came something that hadn't been there before.
So that brings us to Pete's Dragon, which we shot in the summer of 1976. For me, it was fantastic. I was so interested in everything they did.
What's the name of this town
Good
again?
night.
Passamaquoddy. What's about what? Passamaquoddy. Got it.
There is no such town as Passamaquoddy. It was made up. The whole town of Passamaquoddy was actually built on the Disney back lot in Burbank. They added a matte element in the background there to make it look like we were really on the East Coast. They even built a harbor and filled it with water, loaded it with boats that you could sail around on. It was as real as any small town in America. They built this too, but I'll let you in on a little secret. It's a miniature, and it's a movie trick to film water in slow motion to make the scene look bigger. See, this doesn't look as real. You see, in those days, the movie studios tried to avoid going on location. They had more control over lighting and sound inside the lot. I loved the movie set. I was so interested in everything they did. You know, how they did the sound and how they did the camera work. And I loved everything. I loved the grips. I loved how they built the sets. I loved everything. When Elliot ran through the schoolhouse, they actually rigged all that so we actually saw those effects. And it was just so great for a kid to see.
Would you look at that?
A lot of people are just interested in acting and that's it. But I loved every aspect of everything. The only thing I didn't like was the fame.
Well, say he was a dragon.
We had the set that was full of these big, huge actors and comedians like Mickey Rooney and Red Buttons. And when you get comedians of that caliber together, you get this thing where they're always trying to outdo each other. And when the script called for them to stumble up to the cave, and this was just a brief scene, and each one of them was trying to outdo the other. So Mickey would stumble and fall, and then Red would stumble and fall more, and then Mickey would try to outdo him, and it would just go, and it was hilarious. You know, the first scene was like 15-minute long, and I mean, the crew and everyone was just laughing hysterically, and the director said, that was fantastic, but we can't have a 20-minute scene where you two are just walking to the cave. We've got to reshoot it. And so they went and they reshot it, but the second time, instead of 20 minutes, it was 15, and then the third time, instead of 15, it was 10. Oh, it was just hilarious.
Are you convinced?
Absolutely.
Jim Dale, again, another real comedic talent, singer and dancer from England. Jim Backus was another huge comedian. You know, all these guys know each other. When they got together, it was just incredible. And these guys were focusing really on me, because I was the 12-year-old. Anna White, the choreographer, I had just started by days. Tap and jazz and ballet, but I didn't have any formal background. I never had an acting lesson. Hundreds of kids tried out for Pete, and I had, I think it was 13 complete interviews and callbacks, but I think Disney always went for kind of the natural. Anna and her assistants taught me the dancing. You know, eventually I became an All-American pole vaulter in college prep, and I'll tell you what, after I did my dancing and everything, I was an incredible athlete, and I attribute that all to dancing, especially ballet. I mean, I recommend to anyone, do ballet. That's me with Helen Reddy. Helen Reddy was really great. Now, this was her first movie, but you have to remember that she was a huge, huge singing star. She had a son. He was younger than me, probably about half my age. She was really the mother figure who was, you know, kind of the protector of me. And I mean, I loved her to death.
It's not easy to share somebody's dream. It gets easy when you work as a team.
And of course, here's Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
It was a real challenge to act with someone who wasn't really there. Here's how we did it. I'd be on that sodium stage I've been telling you about. Sodium was a chemical in the lights that gave off a very specific kind of yellow.
You sure changed my life.
Now, it doesn't look yellow here, and that's the point. UB Iwerks modified a 3-strip camera with a special prism that took out the yellow and split the image in two. This piece of film, and in the same camera, at the same time, a second negative would photograph the actor as a black and white silhouette. From that black and white negative, they would make a high contrast matte. One matte that was black on white and the other that was white on black. In Disney's optical printer, they would use those mattes to cut holes in the action that they could expose a new negative with anything else they wanted to combine it with.
You sure changed my life.
And they had to do much the same thing with the animation.
Everything seems so new.
Since these mattes captured action and motion, it was also known as the traveling matte process. To make things more real, they could add a shadow layer. Don't worry, there's not going to be a test. But you see how difficult it was before computers. They really pushed the limits on this film too, attempting things that hadn't been done before.
Sure love you.
Remember the night when you first confided. And things went so right that we both decided.
Whoa, that was fun and scary, but it was always safe. I had no idea how it was going to turn out or what I was looking at or anything. It was just pure, solid imagination. Here I'm put with a background that is made up of both real and painted elements. Later they even added real tree branches between me and the background to give it depth.
Hi.
Long shots were outdoors on the Disney Ranch, but the close-up was on the stage. Hey, I gotta tell you something. The last 2 auditions we actually had to record a scene where I was crying because I was saying goodbye to the dragon.
I won't see you again. Will I?
And so the director, Don Chafee, he held his hand up as high as he could and he said, "This is where Elliot's gonna be," and his hand was right in the center of the sodium. It's just so bright. I mean, you look into those lights just for seconds. You know, tears start streaming down your face, and it's just so bright. And so I'm doing this 3-page soliloquy, and just tears are flowing down my face. And afterwards, he came up and he said, "You're the best. Out of these 1,000 kids, you were the only one really that could imagine the dragon being there," and those tears. And I was trying to look at him, you know, and it was not only was I imagining the dragon, but I was imagining the director sitting there and complimenting me because I couldn't see anything. All I could see was these bright sunspots because I had been standing there. The brightness of those lights was the toughest thing about the sodium work.
Kersplash.
I'm not even going to go into all the color and exposure tests they had to do. Whew. For simple scenes of Elliot alone, they could just use a photograph as a background, with animation cells on top. Sound familiar? That's just how Walt Disney did it back in the 1920s for some of the Alice comedies. But the idea was for you to enjoy the movie and not really notice the individual pieces. And even though now you know how it's done, it's still magical. So what's the rest of our story? Well, with the arrival of computers, now these kind of dazzling effects can be done digitally, combining actors with realistic computer animation.
And it's so easy.
So when you watch a classic movie like Pete's Dragon, and maybe the effects don't look quite as real as a new film, think about all the hard work that took filmmaking pioneers more than 80 years to develop these special effects. I was lucky to be part of it. When I went to college prep, I pretty much gave up acting. But I sure remember those brazzle-dazzle days. That summer we made Pete's Dragon, and I still miss Elliot.
The end. Wow, what did you think of those bonus features?
They're good.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh, there's more.
That takes hours and hours and hours of work
Show
Yeah.
himself.
to put all that together.
Next Halloween.
Mhm.
We can touch him. Maybe put some kind of mark on him. Maybe we could hang a few signs on him. Dragon, head, tail, leg, stomach. We've got to approach this scientifically, Hokey. You remember that formula we made a lot of money with last year? You
I need to
rubbish.
buy some water.
I didn't notice you nipping. You can stay here till you sober up.
Can I get one too?
Just when I thought he had possibilities. I'm trying to find a dragon and just look at you. Just look at the way you carry yourself. Wait a minute. How are you doing that? dragons.
Idiot. That's why we're here, to get the dragon.
Hey, baby. Oh.
I look in your eyes and you whisper sweetly. We don't match in size, but we fit so neatly. It's nice waking up when you're close beside me, humming in my ear. You're joking. I can't believe it. You do? I love you too. Remember the night when you first confided, and things went so right that we both decided. Now we're together and life is perfect. Don't ever disappear. Really? Oh, you're just saying that. Is it true? I love you too. We're walking down a road of our own, where rain can never fall. I'm glad I don't have to be alone. Yeah? Know what to say when I want direction. Don't turn away when I need protection. Your voice is the sound of an angel singing, music I wait to hear. Say it again. Everything seems so new. I love you too. I love you too. I love you too.
He's back. Walt Disney Productions. Invisible, impossible, troublesome, massive mischief. Pete's Dragon. A motion picture full of adventure and excitement. Beware of the evil Dr. Terminus and his helper Loki. Hide from the mean family of wicked wackos. Share an irresistible secret with Lampy. Celebrate with Nora, a newfound friend. And live it up with the funniest, most lovable dragon alive.
Elliot, my dragon.
The best pal a boy could ever have.
I love you too.
Sing. Dance. And laugh. With a wonderful motion picture. Walt Disney Productions. Pete's Dragon.
Wow, that's great. You're the most wonderful
We
dragon
watch
in
it
the
for
whole
2
world.
hours.
You're never too old to feel young.
This is
Dragon.
very long.
Yeah, I know.
Pete's best friend is a dragon named Elliot. Sometimes Elliot's invisible. Sometimes he's unbelievable. Sometimes he's out of control. But whenever Pete's in trouble, it's Elliot to the rescue. This is the adventure of a young boy and a lovable, mischievous, warm-hearted dragon. Together, they're going to breathe a little fire into the lives of everyone they meet. Walt Disney's classic, Pete's Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Your Disney movies are magic. And the magic continues after the credits. Just look inside your Blu-ray disc or DVD for the magic code to start earning points toward fantastic rewards at DisneyMovieRewards.com.
There is a place where you get to dive right in. Take aim and ride. And it's your dance too, where you really are a princess or a pirate. And pixie dust shrinks you to the size of a fairy tale. There is a place where dreams come true. Disney Parks.
Coming to Disney Junior. When your mom marries the king and you move into a giant castle, the most important
There's no Disney Junior Channel of United States anymore.
No.
It's shut down.
Yeah. Well, Disney is for kids. It's like silly to say junior.
a new
Yeah.
series only on Disney Junior.
All it takes is faith and trust, and just a little bit of pixie dust. Here we go!
Disney's classic takes flight. For the first time ever. In high definition.
Welcome to Neverland.
Now.
Second
See
starting right, straight out
Neverland.
till morning.
Like never before.
Lost and Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Diamond Edition.
I have the strangest feeling that I've seen that ship before. A long time ago. When I was very young.
Coming on Disney DVD and Blu-ray. Limited time only.
It's incredible. We're not allowed to cross. The Winter Woods was calling me. There's a whole other world over there. Your wings, they're sparkling.
In all my years.
That means so we're I'm Tinkerbell. I'm paralegal.
Disney presents An adventure too big for one world.
Danger across the border.
The balance of the seasons has been thrown off. Soon all of Pixie Hollow will be as cold as the winter woods.
This fall,
Trying to save the pixie dust tree!
the secret. It's just the beginning.
Disney's Secret of the Wings, an all-new Tinkerbell Disney Fairies movie.
No one knows how we came to this land. A land filled with magic and danger.
That's my father, King of Dumbrom. Then there's my brothers.
Devon's more like.
And there's my mother. She's in charge of every single day of my life.
A lady does not place her weapons on the table.
Mom.
She just doesn't listen.
Pretend I'm Merida. Speak to me. I want to stay single and ride through the glen, firing arrows into the sunset.
Each of the firstborn must compete for the hand of the fair maiden.
I'll be shooting for my own hand.
Don't you dare loose another arrow. What became of this precious daughter I once knew?
I want a spell that changes my fate.
What's the worst that can happen?
And the bravest journeys. And
If you
never
had the
take
chance to change
alone.
your fate, would you?
The Brave. Now on Disney Digital and Blu-ray.
Cinderella's back!
Are you sure this isn't just a dream?
You're a princess now. So this is how Cinderella did it.
Unravel Cinderella's happily ever after.
That was my slipper.
And no one knows except us.
My heart, what else can I do?
You married the girl who fits the slipper.
We have to get that wand.
Right away, Cinderella!
Tonight, we will have a new
Cinderella,
I am not going to let you get away with
Yes.
this.
There's double Cinderella 2 and 3 in this trailer. It's just the beginning.
Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True, and Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time. 2-movie collection for the first time on Disney Blu-ray.
I gotta find my son Nemo!
Get ready. The adventure of lifetime comes home for the first time. It's breathtaking. See it like never before. With spectacular before.
Let's ask somebody for directions. What is it with men and asking for directions?
An incredible sound. Finding Nemo. Also available on Blu-ray 3D.
Nice.
second thought,
You think you'll be okay?
Yeah, I think so.
From above the world of Cars, Disney Planes, coming soon to DVD. That was a great movie. All right.
Okay, I need a break.
How
That was so long, Michael. I need a break.
Okay.
Please.
How long do you want a break?
I don't know.
Okay.
Since we're watching all the DVDs up here in my room in bed, what does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.